Hello. I'm kind of waiting for some people to show up, but also eating because I haven't eaten all day. And it's like 6 o'clock here. So I made like this massive salad. Hello. Welcome to my live streaming. How are you doing today? Give me 1 second. So I can just see who is on. There we go. Hey guys. I'm still using my phone, Britt. It's pretty funny. But no, still can't see comments. Let me turn my volume down. I have to figure it out one of these days. I just haven't gone on here in so long. I haven't worked on figuring out the whole comment issue. Okay, there's comments. What are you guys up to tonight? I was supposed to be going to Ashley's. Well, I was planning on leaving earlier, but I literally spent like 3, 2, 1, like 3 or 4 hours working on this packet for this job. I don't know what Renata's talking about. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you want to see like the largest salad ever. So I made a salad keeping like calories in mind. So I used lettuce and onion, like red onion, and broccoli, yellow bell pepper. I used celery, 5 green olives, some sliced black olives, mini corns, 2 cheese sticks that I cut up, pepper jack, and oh, and then like some pepperoni. I like cut them in half and then I kind of spread some pepperoni on there. And I think that's it. And then there's this dressing called Skinny Girl salad dressing. It's like 10 calories per like tablespoon. I went a little bit of avocado. But look how fucking massive this salad is, you guys. It's huge. But I swear I won't be able to eat the whole thing. Hey Leah, hey Brooke. Hey Laura, hey Josie, hey Sydney, hey Lucy, hey Brandy, hey Marie, and hello Brittany. Hey Gracie, yeah, it looks so good. And I didn't want to be late like doing the stream because I had it set for 6 o'clock. So I figured I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like pick at it. It's a salad, like I could sit there for a little bit. And yeah, I didn't eat anything all day today. I didn't even eat like I brought a protein bar with me this morning. I didn't even eat that. So I will just sip on my, and then I have like a diet caffeine-free Pepsi. So I've pretty much been starving myself all day, and just to be able to like get shit done. 20 of the crossword puzzle scratchers and my mom. That's funny. Brittany, whenever I see those the crossword scratchers, I totally am going to think of you. My first meal last night was at 4 a.m. Not good. I know. See, I'm losing weight, but it's not like how I should be. I'm not doing it the smart way. I'm not doing it like how I was doing it like the whole last year. I've been really slacking and just not eating. Like I haven't been following like a normal like diet or routine, whatever you want to call it. Yep, it is 6:09 p.m. here, so it's still light out. Let's see if you guys can see it. See, it's like super duper light outside. It wasn't like sunny or anything today here though. It was really like overcast, and I think it rained a little bit earlier. I really haven't gone outside since I've been back from my interview. Scratchers remind me of old times. I know. It's funny. Yep, you guys are 3 hours ahead. I worked call centers for a long time, so I had to know the different time zones and stuff like that. So that and like military time, a lot of call centers I worked for was based off of military time. So I definitely know all of that stuff. So the interview that I went for this morning for the Department of Corrections, I got an email from them a little bit ago. Okay, hold on. I gotta read it to you guys because at first I was kind of sad because obviously it's like you did not, make the cut. But and then I started thinking about it and I was like, Kevin is gonna be so happy. You can find it. I know it wasn't freaking 5 hours ago. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. We already trashed it. I did already trash it. That's funny. So it says, Dear Tamara, thank you for participating in the interview process for Correction Officer 1. We were fortunate to have had a number of highly qualified applicants to consider for this opening. Now, let me tell you, there were 10 people there. 3 of those people were over the age of 60, probably 60 or over. I want to say another 2 women there were from out of state. One was from New York, one was Arizona. So that's 5. There was one girl that looked like she was 22 that worked in some sort of a facility somewhere else. So she was probably qualified. I give that to her. And then there was a woman that was probably my age, but she looked like just like super weak and like timid. She was like super quiet when she talked. There was another chick there that looked like she could hold her own. And then me, and then like, I don't know who the other chick was. So maybe 2 of those people were qualified. And there's only 2 sessions, my session, and then there was one at 10 a.m. And I don't know. I don't know about them. Anyway, they were picking 15 to 20 people. So I was probably one of like maybe 5 people that didn't get picked. So they said, we were fortunate to have a number of highly qualified applicants to consider for this opening. Employment decisions are never easy, and this recruitment was no exception. We enjoyed meeting you, and although your credentials are impressive, we regret to inform you that you were not selected for this position. We appreciate the time and effort you have invested in the application process and encourage you to visit careers.wa.gov for other employment opportunities that may be of interest to you. Again, thank you for your time and interest. We wish you the best in your job search. Sincerely, Sarah Price Mitchell, whoever that is. But I just thought it was hilarious that like I didn't get chosen further, to go to the next step of like the process because I'm an interview person. Like I'm comfortable in interviews, and like one of the women that interviewed me, like she was telling me about like, working, with chemical dependency facilities and like how great that work is. And like, she was telling me, oh, good answer for this and good answer for that. So I know the interview went good, but I know that because of my criminal background, because was straight up honest and I said, yes, I had a felony that was lowered to a misdemeanor and it was expunged and here's my paperwork. And the fact that my husband is incarcerated, because I know like that had to be an aspect of it. That's why they didn't like choose me. So it was kind of annoying. But yeah, no, I kind of knew that though, because there's another girl in our group that used to be a correctional officer. And I talked to her the other day and she told me, she's like, yeah, they'll interview you. She's like, but I guarantee you that they're talking shit about you like as soon as the interview is over and they won't call you back. She's like, but they'll just interview you out of like courtesy, common courtesy or whatever. But I was thinking, I was like, how is that common courtesy if like they're wasting my time? Like that doesn't make sense. And honestly, there's a policy says that says they cannot be biased against someone because they have a family member or yeah, a family member that's incarcerated, as long as they're not at the same facility that you're applying for. But it's all good because I found out at the interview that they don't pay $20 an hour, which they said that they do. They only pay like $17 an hour. So it's fine. And I know Kevin will be super happy. He told me this morning in the JPay email that he sent me that he's like, I'm crossing my fingers for you. And then he said that you sleep through your alarm and miss the interview. Ha ha ha. So I know that he didn't want me to work there, and I totally get it. Like I didn't even want to work there, but it's just the fact that the pay was so good, and like right now I really need a job that has really good pay, so I went with that. But the silver lining is that the 911 dispatcher job that I was not going to apply for, the director of that program, we had a really good connection when we interviewed. It was her and another woman, and we were laughing, and they told me I sounded like a dispatcher. Anyway, I had emailed her last night and I told her that I didn't think that I would qualify, that I was a recovering addict and I had a criminal history, even though it's from 2009. And it was very overwhelming, this 32-page packet. I couldn't fill it out. And I just said, I wish her luck in finding exemplary candidates for, her call center for the 911 dispatcher. And she was so sweet, though. She emailed me back and she said, I appreciate your honesty. She said, don't worry, it's overwhelming for everybody. She said, but honestly, she's like, write down everything. She's like, you can, write on a separate piece of paper that, you used from this year to that year. So that explains the numbers that you put down for drug use because they wanted to be really detailed. I put that I used meth like 200 times because she told me just to guess. And I know I've used it way more than 200 times. But yeah, I put 200 times for meth. I think I put 20 times for shrooms, but I think I've done shrooms over 20 times. I put twice for acid. I think I've used acid 2 or 3 times. Ecstasy once. Weed I put 100 times, even though I know I've smoked more than 100 times. But she just wanted me to put guesses down. Hold on, comment break. Yeah, the DSE job was bullshit. I thought. I know, 200 times. I did meth from the time I was like 16, almost 17 until I was 21. I quit I think it was the beginning of 2000. So right before I turned 21. Like right before I turned 21, I quit. So I used for like 5 years and I used like quite often. It wasn't like, oh, just like once or twice. It was like from the time I was 16 to 18, I dropped out of school and I was using like every day. So, I mean, that's like, I don't know, if I used once a day, which I used more than that. If I used once a day, that's over 700 times just in those 2 years. And then, another couple years of like using it like, pretty regularly or like every once in a while or whatever. So I was being very, very generous when I said 200. Yeah, I always had like heard horror stories about acid, so I was always really scared to use it. But I remember the first time that I used it, it was at a party that we had at my house when I was in high school, and it was like the best trip ever. I was with my friend Nicole, and like everybody left because some girl's dad called the cops, and we were just at like the peak of our fry. And I lived out in the country, so after everybody left, um, we walked to this like one lane bridge down the street from my house. And I remember we got across the bridge and we were like, oh, it's so beautiful out. And we started staring at the stars and everything. And then I saw a car come and I thought it was my dad for some reason. And I was like, run, like it's my dad. And like we ran across this bridge and like I tried jumping like down under the bridge, like because there was a walkway down below and I didn't see the barbed wire and I landed on this barbed wire and I have scars on my legs like still like 20 years later. And I was like bleeding from it. It was horrible. And but I had no pain because I was frying on acid. So proceeded to go meet with like my boyfriend at the time, walk down the street to meet with him like afterwards. It was crazy. But it was a good trip. It wasn't bad or anything. And then the second time I did acid was here at my mom's house, and it was a crazy situation. Her boyfriend at the time was manic depressant, and he was hearing voices, like he was hearing his dad tell him to do shit. I don't even remember, but I remember me and my brother and his friend were all frying on acid, and we had to go to the hospital with my mom, and it was just crazy. It's super crazy. So those are the only two times that I fried on acid. Um, I know, Brittany, 200 times in a month or a month and a half. Yeah, so if you think, okay, so for me, like every time I smoked it, because I smoked it, right? And I probably smoked it like, I don't know, every 3 hours or something like that. So what, 4, 8, like 7 times a day, 7 or 8 times a day? And yeah, like 2 years. I don't know. That's a lot. 8 times 365 is, yeah. I mean, I don't even want to go there. It's a lot. I thought about that too, Josie. Like, normally, wouldn't it freak people out, like if you saw blood when you're on acid? But for some reason, it didn't like trip me out or anything. Yep. And I am like you. I probably smoked weed like over 3,000 times because I was the biggest pothead for like a really long time. Um, a really, really long time. And I've done shrooms so many times. I'm sure I've done shrooms over 20 times. I just put 20 times. And I know this because, so I did shrooms when I was like 16 or 17 with my friend Sarah. And I know I've told that story. And then I did it, I know, like probably maybe 4 or 5 times when I was in California. Then when we moved to Washington, we would do we'd have shroom parties like at my mom's house here every single weekend. So, and we did that for like at least, I don't know, maybe 9 months or something like that. So that's like 30 or 40 times. So, and I did it after that as well. I did it when I was living in Hawaii working on the cruise ships. I did it once there. Some guy that I met at a bar had shrooms and like I did them with him and it was pretty cool. And but I haven't done them since. But yeah, it was funny because they had all these drugs and like you could put either used or experimented. So I put experimented with ecstasy because I've only done it once. Experimented with the acid because I only did it twice. I said used shrooms, used weed, and used meth. Oh, and experimented with coke because I only did coke once. Like I never used coke ever, really. The first time I did shrooms, I saw blood and got so freaked out. I told you that story. Yes. Oh my God, that was a crazy story, Josie or Brittany. I know, no more California for me. I lived there like way too long. Kevin and I were at visiting, not yesterday. Oh, I went to visit him yesterday, but saw him on Friday and we were talking about like where we're gonna live when he gets out. And I'm sure you guys like have those talks a lot as well. Um, because for like a lot of guys, especially if they're in for a long time, they don't want to go back to the place like where they got in trouble just because like maybe the same people are there. Like maybe the area like just reminds them of like what, horrible mistake that they made and that kind of thing. So we knew that like we didn't want to go back to Tacoma and like Seattle area because that's where like he got in trouble and that's where, yeah, a lot of shit happened for him. So we always talked about moving to Portland and that's like still we're talking about it. But we also talked about California and we agreed because at one time I was like, San Francisco, let's, move to San Francisco. Like I can get season tickets to the Giants and like I'll drag you along with me and like it'll be great. It'll be like, it used to be when I lived in the Bay Area, and I love the Bay Area. Like, I love it, love it, love it. It reminds me of Seattle a lot, actually. They're really similar. They've got like the really steep one-way streets. It's got the same vibe, like really cool music vibe. Sports obviously are different. Like the team is the Seahawks in Seattle, obviously. The Mariners suck. This season the Giants suck, so that's what I gotta say about that. And then 49ers obviously is like a huge thing in San Francisco. But yeah, it's really similar. Um, but we talked about it and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to move back there, especially just for like a sporting event, you know what I mean? But we talked about like if we were to move to California, the place that we would choose to move to, hold on, I'm trying to catch up on your guys' comments. The place that we'd move to would be San Diego, just because it's San Diego, like the perfect weather year round. You're right by the beach. I mean, it's a big city. It's like the vibe of it is just like really laid back and like easygoing. And yeah, it's just like, I love San Diego. My brother went to the university down there years ago, and my dad used to take me down there like a lot. I don't think Kevin's ever been down there, but yeah, it's cool. If we're making enough money, we would move down there, but it's so expensive to live there. So, Sydney, I am super excited about tomorrow. Um, I am going to do the live, feed with you guys like I am right now. And then probably about 7 o'clock, I'm going to have to get off and finish eating and stuff like that. Just because I'm going to Ashley's. I'm going to stay the night at Ashley's tonight because she's going to go with me. So that's awesome to be able to have a friend go and like, support and stuff like that. And I know Brittany said like if she, was up here, she would totally, go to. The cool thing is like if you guys ever wanted to like hear the oral argument that's going to be done tomorrow, it'll actually be online like the following day. So I think that's pretty cool. And it's not that long of a hearing. It's only going to be about 30 minutes. So it's just interesting. I'm excited to hear like what our lawyer is going to say, like how he's going to present everything, but also like what the prosecutor is going to say and how the judges are going to react to everything, and like how the judges, like what kind of feel we get from the judges. Like that's what I'm the most excited to see, is like how the judges are going to react. Oh, I'm from Sacramento originally, Sydney. I lived in Elk Grove. I lived in Carmichael. It's so funny, Sydney, like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of us are considering Portland. Like Brittany, I think said they were considering Portland. Elle is considering, like they've already talked about Portland. I talked about Portland. An old admin from another group named Allie, who's in a California group with Britt. She's talking about moving to Portland when her husband gets out. Like there's a lot of us that are talking about moving to Portland. Sugary sweet fruit. Oh, you've never done any drugs. What do you do if you have a bad trip? You ride that shit out. That's what you do when you have a bad trip. Like there is no like rewind button. You can't like go back once you've like taken drugs and you have a bad trip. Yep, exactly what Leah said. You wait it out. I had a friend of mine, I have two friends named Donnie. One of them is incarcerated at Walla Walla, and he's got like, I think like 5 or 6 years left. Um, and my other friend Donnie lives in Leavenworth, which is like the Christmas town in Washington. Like Leavenworth is like Christmas year round. They've got the lights up and the trees, and it's kind of, I've never been there, but I've seen pictures, and it's supposed to be really cool. Anyhow, he lives there. So Donnie, that's in prison, years ago when we used to shroom here every weekend, he took way too many shrooms one night, and we went to a friend's birthday party, like a couple miles from here. And we were at the party, and he started freaking out. And I think I was on shrooms too. I don't remember, but I remember him freaking out. And she lived on a cul-de-sac, and his friend Brad, he like went up to his friend Brad, and he's like, dude, like when is this gonna end? Like, I feel super fucked up. And he had a really bad trip on it. And his friend Brad told him, dude, like you're gonna be like that for the rest of your life. We're gonna have to take you to a mental institution. We're gonna have to check you in, just to fuck with him. And so he came out and he's like, damn, he's like, Brad said I'm never gonna like be normal again. I'm always gonna like be feeling like this. He's like, what the fuck? I don't get it. And he's tripped out. And dude starts running in circles. around this cul-de-sac and like taking his shirt off and like start stripping. And I was like, okay, that's it. And like I grab him and I'm like, we're going back to my house. So I grab him with my other friend Donnie. We put him in the car and like drive him back to my house. And it's just the three of us here. And he was so freaked out. Like he did way too many shrooms. I was like massaging his head. I was like just like rubbing his head, like it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And like he just wanted me to call my mom and like have her come home because I guess he felt safe around her or whatever. So my mom was at the bar and like I called her and like she eventually came home. But it took him hours, like probably a good 3 hours to like get out of like that stage of having a bad trip. It was crazy. I sat in a chair for 12 hours, spinning in circles, repeating the real me. So learning a big lesson right now. That is so funny, Josie. I know you've told me that before. Oh my God. You're so hilarious. It's so funny. Yeah, that's what I did, Sydney, for my friend Donnie, is I just reassured him that like eventually it was going to go away and he was going to be better and not to listen to his friend Brad because he was telling him a lie and not telling him the truth. Yeah, there's one time also that like we had a bunch of people tripping at our house on shrooms, and I think there's some people on ecstasy at my house. And my friend David, though, who passed away years ago, he was drunk. He died drinking and driving, actually. And he was drunk in the kitchen, like just trying to listen to music, and he was into rap and stuff. So he was like putting on music and like just trying to get into his vibe. And but like everybody that was tripping, like was just like looking at him like all evil, like he was like the devil or something. And it was horrible. Like I thought they were gonna jump him or something. So I had to put him in my bedroom and like lock him in there. And like I had a stereo on there and stuff. And I was like, yeah, David, just like hang on here, like, wait till everybody leaves and stuff. But I really thought like all of the people that were tripping on shrooms or ecstasy or whatever they were doing were gonna like jump my friend and beat the shit out of him. Oh wow. That's crazy. Savannah, I don't know anybody that has HIV. Actually, I met like years and years ago when I was in high school. My boyfriend at the time took me over to this guy's house, and I think we were smoking weed or something like that. But I think it was weed because I remember talking about the cops, and they referred to the cops as the popo like at that time, but that was like the late 90s. Um, but this guy, he was an older guy. They called him old Greg because my boyfriend's name was Greg, and he was like we were like 18. But yeah, I found out after going there that he had HIV, and it kind of freaked me out because I'd never been around anybody that had it, so I didn't know how to act or anything like that. Obviously, it's way different now. I've never been around anybody else that has it, but I know like I've taken classes on HIV and AIDS. Like I know the basics on like how you can catch it and how you can't catch it and all of that. So it doesn't freak me out as much, but that definitely freaked me out. Yeah, that would really freak me out, honestly. Like if I had a cut on my hand and there was blood, definitely. Shit, Brittany, that's crazy. So I know this guy, an ex-boyfriend of mine, it's his half brother, I think. He did meth, but he hadn't done it like a bunch of times. But whatever he had, like the people cut with something horrible. I don't know what it was. Not like anything they cut with it is good or anything, but I mean, it caused him like he only used it like maybe a dozen times, but it caused him to like mentally like be gone for life. Like he's been in Western State, which is like the mental hospital in Washington. He talks to people that aren't there. I remember going over to the house and like him talking, and he was looking at me, and I thought he was talking to me, so I like responded, and he's like, "Oh, Tammy, no, I'm not. I'm talking to Frank. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Frank." And I guess Frank was standing right in front of me. I couldn't see Frank, but that's who he was talking to. And it was like he was a nice guy, but I was always like it was awkward. Like I felt uncomfortable being around him because like I would, stay the night at my boyfriend at the time's house, and this other guy, the brother, would be there. And I remember one time like waking up, I took a nap on the couch and I woke up and he was like right in front of my face. And it just like, I don't know, he's not mentally there, so you can't like really trust anybody that's not mentally there. That's like totally perma-fried. Drug-induced psychosis is, it's like, it's crazy. But yeah, anyway, that makes me definitely not want to do drugs. I'm glad I chose the field that I did, and I'm glad I stopped using drugs when I did. Yeah, I mean, he could have been like manic, or he could have been schizophrenic and, just not realized it. And then like the drugs could have brought it out, even more. I know. And it's so stupid. Like I think about like all those years ago, like like how did I trust like these people that were selling me drugs, or giving me drugs? Like how did I trust that the fucking dope wasn't cut with like poison, and it was going to instantly kill me? Or how did I trust that the freaking acid that I got wasn't going to kill me? I don't know. Like I just was, you think about it and you're like, God, like I was a trusting person to do all that shit. It's one thing to drink alcohol, you know what I mean? Or like smoke weed, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I used to hitchhike and stuff like that too when I was younger, and that's crazy in itself as well. And that's funny, Sydney. Some of the other girls like tell me that they've done that too. I think Brittany's done it. I know Josie's done it before. I think Maddie's done it before too. Damn, Josie, that's crazy for 6 months. Happy birthday to your husband, Leah. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to go through these comments. Yeah, so tomorrow is going to be crazy. The hearing starts at 9:30, so it's like first thing in the morning. So we have like, God, almost like 12 hours, 15 hours, 15 hours. It's super crazy. It sucks that we don't get an answer like right away. Like it'd be awesome if it was like immediate, but also like I'm glad that it's not immediate, because at least like it gives those judges time to like really consider everything instead of just being like yes or no, like right off the bat, you know what I mean? So we think it's going to be between like 3 to 6 months that we'll get an answer. So it should be like sometime like in the fall, we'll probably have an answer on it. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's exciting because we've been waiting so long. Like we started this process like over 2 years ago. So drug dealers are always the easiest people to trust when you're using. And they're like your best friends. I swear to God, I was so stupid when I used drugs. So I was talking to Brittany about this the other day. Like, you know how people, like when they smuggle drugs, they like swallow the balloons or like put the balloons up their ass or whatever. Like, isn't that freak you out? Like, I was thinking about this. Like, wouldn't that freak you out that like it would like pop or like explode or whatever, like if it was inside of you? Like, especially we were talking about it like in the stomach more than anything. But even like if you're sticking something up your ass or up your vajayjay, like that shit can still, there can be a hole created and like, it can like seep out into your system. The first time I smoked weed, Josie, and my boyfriend at the time, I was a junior in high school, he's a freshman. He didn't tell me it was laced with PCP, and I went back to the class like tripping, tripping, tripping. And I didn't smoke weed for like 6 months after that, probably like 3 to 6 months after that. That was like my very first experience. Yeah, Brittany was talking about it because there was a guy at Wasco. Why did I say Wasco? Wasco. A guy at Wasco that died, I guess, from swallowing balloons that popped in his stomach. It's really scary. But wouldn't it be the same thing? Like if you shoved it up your vagina or you shoved it up your ass, like, and it popped, like you're still gonna have the same effect, right? Because it seeps into your system. Dude puts 10 packs of cigarettes. How do you put 10 packs of cigarettes up your ass? Like seriously. I tried anal like a couple times in my life and it was not comfortable. I just can't imagine. I don't get it. Like what the fuck? How does that even work? That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. For real, like I remember when I was pregnant, they gave me a suppository. It was supposed to help with like the nausea and vomiting and everything. And like even putting a suppository up my ass, like that was uncomfortable. So I couldn't even imagine like doing anything other than that. That's so sad, Brittany. Oh, she said 10 packs of cigarettes. So I just like figured like cigarettes, like not the actual tobacco, but like a cigarette, like a fully formed cigarette. No, like when I've heard about people like taking tobacco in is like chewing tobacco and they don't bring it in like through that way. They bring it in through like other ways. Like they'll hide it in the visiting room and then somebody will like find it and get it and yeah, do like that kind of stuff, but not like putting it up their ass. Oh my God, guys. So I'm gonna have to get off here soon because my salad is still sitting here. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so school. I have 2.5 weeks until school is over. This quarter is over, and then I am out until September, which is crazy. But hopefully I get this job on Thursday. You have the dispatcher job or this other job at the counseling place. And then I can just like work from here on out. My unemployment runs out, I think, in September anyway, so I need to start working. No, Savannah, we don't have parole here. I think I've told you this before. We don't have parole in Washington, but a year ago we filed a petition for resentencing. So um, it passed like the first phase, and then the second phase, these three judges decided for them to send it to oral arguments. So our lawyer gets 10 minutes, the prosecutor gets 10 minutes to explain to the judges why he should be resentenced. And then we get a 3-minute rebuttal. And then those three judges get together and then they decide whether Kevin is getting resentenced or not getting resentenced. So I'm thinking between 3 to 6 months, they'll have an answer. And then if they say they are going to resentence him, he'll go back to county, usually within like a couple weeks. And then once he goes to actual court to be resentenced, we'll find out like that day what his new sentence is going to be. And it's cool because it's a precedent case. So for anybody else in Washington state that is trying to get resentenced for the same thing, they can all piggyback off of his case. So they don't even need a lawyer. But once Kevin's resentenced, they would just like fill out this form and they would also get resentenced. So it could help so many people. A peanut butter jar? What? I know, I know. I just stick to family friendly, but how do you make family friendly when it has to do with like prison related stuff? It's kind of hard to keep it family friendly. We're talking about shoving shit up your ass. That's awesome. Oh, it's funny. All right, guys, I am gonna eat because I am like starving. I haven't eaten all day, like I said. Um, and I don't want to eat on camera. I have like a phobia of eating in front of people sometimes, so it's kind of weird today. Oh my God, watch the new After Prison Show video. I just watched it, and Joe actually filmed going into the prison, the jail, to talk about Joe, how he's in oh, they put him in like a mental health unit because somebody, I guess, called in and said that he was going to hurt himself. Like he's on suicide watch. And so he went in to talk to an officer to find out what was going on. And the officer told him, oh, like, he's a grown man and like, we have to do what we have to do. And so when he left, he's talking to the camera and he's like, fuck this shit. He's like, prison and jail staff, I can totally, I know, now I know what people are talking about when they say that they're on power trips and like, you guys just saw it. And like, I mean, he went off on him. It's really, really fucked up. Sydney, go to on YouTube, go type in After Prison Show, and he's got tons of videos. He does videos every day. So you can watch like all of his videos that are on there. But yeah, he's really cool. When he first starts out, he does interviews, and then about a month or no, about 3 months into it, he starts doing like more like comedic videos related to prison. And then recently his buddy got violated, and so he's been doing videos on like the whole process with trying to get him out. Yeah, Britt, they talked that about that too, like that he was a YouTube star or whatever, and like they don't want him saying things or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, you guys should definitely check him out. He's got a really good channel. He's got like 500,000 viewers, I think. He's got a lot of subscribers. But anyways, I'm gonna get off here. I will talk to you guys later or in the group or whatever. But I probably won't be able to go to sleep tonight, even though I have to get up super freaking early. I have to be in Seattle by 9. I want to be there by 9. It's like an hour drive and it's an hour ferry ride. I could do either ferry or drive around, but it's like in the weekday and it's early in the morning. So I'm like trying to figure out like what the best way to go is. I'm thinking it might be driving around. I might just drive around. So I'm like, yeah, I might just drive around. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I will talk to you guys later. I'm gonna eat dinner and yeah, love you guys.